Internet, my name's Lave. I watched High Rise and now I'm going to tell you what I thought about it. Where to begin with this one? Okay, so High Rise is directed by Wheatley and it's an adaptation of a J.G. Ballard novel. Now I haven't read the source material so I couldn't tell if it's a faithful adaptation of that, but what I do know is that it was written in the 70s and this film is set in the 70s. So essentially it's a modern day film set in the past talking about the future, which is interesting because it does have a lot to say about modern society and social structure. A lot of it still rings true considering this was written over 40 years ago. Yeah, perhaps that's the best way to describe how I felt about this film. I found it really interesting. I'm not sure if I enjoyed it, but then I'm not sure if I was supposed to. So the film is about a self-contained community living in this high-rise luxury apartment building on the outskirts of London. And when I say self-contained, they really are self-contained. This building has everything. It's got its own swimming pool, supermarket, school, gym, and it all serves as a giant metaphor for the social classing system. You've got the upper class right at the very top, and then you've got the middle and then the lower middle. Yeah, I wouldn't say that the lower class and the working class are involved in this at all. I guess they're kind of outside of the building. And then complete anarchy ensues as social order just crumbles and you've got the classes fighting against each other. And I do mean anarchy, it goes fucking nuts pretty quickly as well. So the film's got a really good cast. You've got Tom Hiddleston as Dr. Robert Lang. Now I wouldn't say he's the film's protagonist, but then I wouldn't say he's the antagonist either. He moves into floor 25 of 40 floors, so he's in the middle class, but he can mingle between classes. He's a really ambiguous character. There's something very uncanny about him. Likewise, you've got Sienna Miller's character. She's a socialite and she also kind of mixes between the two. She hosts a lot of parties. And it's really good to see Jeremy Irons back on the big screen again. He plays Anthony Royal. He's the architect of the building, so he's at the very top of the chain. He has a really good line in it in which I might be paraphrasing, in which he says, I'm the architect of my own accident. And there's a really surprising turn from Luke Evans. You've probably seen him in really generic roles in Fast and Furious franchise, Dracula Untold, and The Hobbit. He plays a guy called Richard Wilder, who's a real sleazebag. He's from the lower levels, he's a filmmaker, and he becomes determined to make a documentary about the collapse of society and make his way to the top to see the architect. Yeah, surprisingly good turn from him. So yes, I agree with the advertisement. The film is full of good performances, but for me, the real star of the show is the production design and the building itself. The building is very uncanny. It's almost a character in itself. Likewise, I really enjoyed the cinematography. Visually, it's aesthetically pleasing. And the same can be said with the sound design as well. There's a really cool cover of ABBA's SOS. But I'm still not sure, and doesn't it feel like this butter's been coming? I'm still not sure what to think of it. It's... I think I'm going to have to come back to this word that I've used a couple of times, and that's the uncanny. I actually wrote about the uncanny in my dissertation at university, and it could possibly explain why this film is so divisive. So without going into too much detail, the uncanny in a nutshell is that feeling that you get when you maybe look at a wax model or something and you're not sure if it's alive or not. In a simpler way, it's a conflict of when you find something homely but unhomely at the same time. Now, it's not to say that you're frightened or scared, it's just an uneasy feeling, and as a result of that, you reject it. So maybe that's potentially why a lot of people didn't like it. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but certainly I saw this film on Friday and I wanted to originally review it and get it posted on Friday, but I wanted to sleep on it and I thought about it all day yesterday and today's Sunday. So that's how much it's affected me. Yeah, it's utterly nuts, but fascinating at the same time. So that's my thoughts on High Rise, and pause the video now if you want to check out my tracker. I'm not going to call it an enjoyment tracker. I think High Rise is a fascinating film to watch, maybe not one to enjoy. I think academics will use this film as a study of closed off communities and madness and insanity, maybe as a translation of a novel. I couldn't tell you, I haven't read it. It really got me thinking, this film, and I think it's supposed to evoke feelings of disgust and I do actually want to see this film again. I might even buy the book, read it, and then buy it on Blu-ray just to see how they compare. If you're a casual cinema goer, then maybe this film isn't for you. 10 Cloverfield Lane has just come out as well. Maybe go and see that instead. I have a feeling this one's going to be a hard one to edit. I'm literally just saying how I feel, and we'll see how it goes. But thanks very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. If you've seen High Rise, tell me in the comments what you thought of it. It's an interesting one, this one. At one point, I was sitting there and I thought they could resolve this just by sending in this guy. Subscribe.